Welcome back to tonight's broadcast, A Place for Stories. I'm Sergio Dominguez, and tonight we continue reading my original novel, What Would I Do Without You? If you're just joining us, I encourage you to begin with chapter 1 so you can experience Isaac's story from the very beginning. In our last chapter, Isaac stood beside his best friend on one of the hardest days of his life. It was a reminder that true friendship isn't measured by the words we say, but by the moments we choose not to walk away. But even after saying goodbye, life continues. And with every ending comes the beginning of something new. Let's continue Isaac's journey. This is What Would I Do Without You, Chapter 15. Spring semester was a true roller coaster with everything that had happened. Finals week arrived, and it was time to really hit the books. Junior year was on its way out. The week went by so fast, but I was able to do well on all my exams. Not as good as Aaron, of course, but I did well. "We have to go to the lake this summer," said Mary as we gathered in the parking lot for the last time as juniors. "Yes, we do. And Aaron, we need to do several movie nights at your house. That TV is like being in a movie theater," said Sam. "This is going to be a great summer. I don't think I will have summer school this year," said James as he put his arm around Mel and me. "But first, we must hit our usual spot. Let's go to the juice bar," I said. Hanging out with that group was a guaranteed good time. James was a clown who could make anyone laugh. We must have been there for at least a couple of hours before we decided it was time to go. Later that evening, I received a phone call. "Hey, I got good news. I didn't want to tell you until I knew for sure." It was Chris, and I could tell that he was excited about something. "What's up?" I asked him. "I'll be going back to school next year. I will be graduating with you after all. My father talked to the principal to see what could be done. I had to take the finals, and if I did well, then I could go back. And I must say, I did very well for someone that wasn't in class most of the year." "Aw, man, that's awesome. I'm so happy you decided to stay. You deserve to graduate with your class," I said sincerely. "Yeah, the only problem is that I am not sure what I'm going back to. I mean, Roger is gone, which, don't get me wrong, I'm glad about. But I don't want to hang out with the other guys. After my mom's passing, I had to do some growing up. Hanging out with them again would be a regression, and I really don't want that," Chris reasoned. "Don't worry about it. I will introduce you to the group, and they will be okay with it," I told him, trying to sound like if it was no big deal, even though I was very uncertain. "Right," he drawled sarcastically. Then he snickered. "I'm so sure about that. Remember, I was the asshole for most of high school." I sighed. "I know, but don't worry about it though. I'll talk to them," I said, sounding confident, but underneath I thought, I will need a miracle to pull this one off. Turns out that it wasn't as hard as I thought it would be. In the beginning, the girls had an issue with it, but they came to like him after a while. Aside from that, James and Chris seemed to hit it off real quick. Aaron, however, was the one that I had the most trouble convincing. "So what is going to happen now? He's going to start hanging out with us? The guy that made my life a living hell?" Aaron's voice climbed as he kept talking. He did not like the idea at all, which was completely understandable. It was different for me because I knew the old Chris, who was kind and fun to be with. High school had changed him. Little by little, my old friend was coming back to being himself, though. I hoped that Aaron could find it within himself to give Chris a chance and see who he really was. I had started to notice that Aaron was insecure about his and my friendship, which made me think he felt things would change between us. I was determined not to let that happen. "It's going to be okay, Aaron. Just give him a chance. Chris feels bad about what he did. He is a good guy. You just have to give him a chance to show you." The look on his face was one of uncertainty. He shook his head and walked away. What can I do to prove it to him? I thought to myself. Eventually, James and Chris got close and did several things together that summer. Playing basketball and hanging out at the mall became a thing for them. Things really changed for Chris. Every now and again, I could tell he was feeling a little down, but James seemed to take care of that. I no longer felt like I needed to check up on him. Time did him well. And that brings us to the end of chapter 15 of What Would I Do Without You? Sometimes helping someone through a difficult time doesn't mean we have to carry them forever. Sometimes it means staying beside them long enough until they're ready to find their own way forward. Chris had been through one of the darkest moments of his life, but little by little, things were beginning to change. He was coming back to school, he was finding his place again, and unexpectedly, he had found a new friendship in James. But for Isaac, there was still something he needed to figure out. Bringing Chris into his circle of friends was one thing. Convincing Aaron that Chris had truly changed was going to be something else entirely. And maybe Isaac was beginning to realize that forgiveness doesn't happen at the same pace for everyone. We'll see where that takes them when we continue with chapter 16. Thank you for listening to What Would I Do Without You? If you're enjoying Isaac and Aaron's story, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to tonight's broadcast, A Place for Stories. I'm Sergio Dominguez. Until next time, good night.